to get off their darkest ground. The gravity pulls you straight down.
And g'day guys, first off I'll say hello to James Bath. Hello mate, thanks for joining the stream. This is Brisbane Airport, Queensland, Australia. Brisbane was my old hometown for quite a number of years. Originally it was called Eagle Farm Airport. Right now, if you look over here on the right, it's got a second runway. Well, it only had the single runway for years and years. This area down here, this is the domestic terminal, and the international terminal is right down the end there. This is a freeway. And if I come up a bit, if it's not too hazy, over here you can see water. That's Moreton Bay. There's an island over there, but again it's pretty hazy today, so you can't see it. Yeah, and here's the international terminal here, domestic there. One interesting thing, maybe you might find interesting, is that Charles Kingsford Smith was the first person to fly the Pacific, I think, from what was Los Angeles in a Stinson, I think it were a Trimotor Ford, not quite sure, either one. And this is where he landed following the crossing. And his aircraft was became a historical bit of memorabilia. And eventually it ended up being in a museum, put in a museum here. That could be it there, but I remember having a look at it a couple of times. That certainly doesn't look like the original museum or the display area where it was. Maybe because of this new runway they've had to move a lot of things, so I'm not quite sure if it's there. Okay, so today we're taking the Saab 340X. 340. Can't remember the suffix after it, but anyway, and it's in the Rex Aviation livery. James, you're talking about Sydney and Melbourne over in the States. No, I'm not quite sure where they're located. I used to know, but I'm not sure. But I don't think it'd be... I'm not quite sure what the distance is involved, because it's not a long way between Melbourne and Sydney here. You can usually fly it in about an hour. I don't know how come you guys ended up with those two titles in your country. Anyway, back to what I was going to say was that Rex Aviation, I think I mentioned this before, they're the biggest operators of the Saab in the world. They're the third largest airline in Australia. They obtained quite a number of these aircraft from different airlines around the world who were phasing them out and shifting over things like ATRs and all those others. So Rex grabbed quite a few of them. I'm not quite sure the number. I think it's anything around about the 20. And they fly pretty well most of the regional routes around Australia. To the smaller towns, not so much some of the bigger coastal towns. They can't compete with Qantas and Virgin with that. So they stick to some of the very small inland and coastal towns. Yeah, James, Hi Fly Guy, how are you? Thanks for joining the stream. I'm just looking, Sydney is up in Nova Scotia, and yeah, that's right, now I'm a few miles north of Halifax. Melbourne is a few miles to the east of Orlando. Oh, that's right, well that'd be a long flight, wouldn't it? From Melbourne, Orlando, or Melbourne, Florida up to Sydney, Nova Scotia. No, we're a lot longer than ours anyway. Okie doke, so that's a bit of the story about Rex, and today we're flying between Brisbane, which is the capital city of Queensland, and we're going out to Charleville, out west. It's probably about an hour and 50-minute flight in the Saab. Now, first off, before I do anything, I'll get the ground handling guys to come over and start loading up the cargo. James, you're talking about Qantas and Virgin, or you're talking about Rex? Rex would dominate, definitely. Most of the coastal, the small coastal, and the small inland towns. Virgin and Qantas would only fly the aircraft to coastal cities. I'll give you an example. In Queensland, they'd fly from Brisbane to Rockhampton, to Mackay, to Hamilton Island, to Townsville, and to Cairns, and they can use the A320s or the 737s for that. They also do some regional flights, well, coastal, and maybe the odd regional flights in the Dash 8s. Rex basically, until recently, were nothing but Saabs, but they have leased a number of Boeing B800s, and they're actually competing against Virgin and Qantas along some of the routes, like between Melbourne and Sydney, Sydney's Brisbane, etc. FTP, you're drunk. Okay, mate. Anyway, what I'm going to do today is something a little bit different, I hope. If you look in front there's a GPU. I think it is there. Yeah, that's a GPU. You can see the cable. But GPUs aren't always available in a lot of these inland cities, towns, and coastal towns. So I'm going to demonstrate, which I hope does work properly, is how the Saab can actually start its engines using the battery. So we're going to give it a shot today. I've done this before. The only thing you've got to be careful about, of course, is you can't just be running everything off the battery for too long. I'm not quite sure what time limit, maybe 30 minutes. So anyway, we'll see how we go. So the first thing I'll do here is I'll put on the power, and very quickly we'll put on our electrical for our aviation, for our instrumentation. I mean, turn these blowers off. Back up here. A few things to do quickly. We'll arm the emergency lighting. We'll reset the bleeds. That's on. This will come over to battery. That shows us what our power output is. Okay, we'll put on our beacon very quickly. Yep. What I might do is get everybody seated very quickly. Means getting rid of everything outside. It's probably all been loaded up. It has. So we'll clear these guys off. And we can close the rear hatch, luggage compartment. We'll lock it. We'll go inside, and assuming everybody's on board, we'll bring up the stairs, push it to one side, get rid of the jump seat. Close the door. You'll be quiet with your FTP. Well, that's good to know. Okay, so that's done. Now to keep the noise down a bit from outside, these guys are all just standing by, but we don't need them anymore, so we're just going to get rid of them all together. It makes it a lot quieter. Okay, back inside. So we're passengers are seated. Seat belt's going to come on. Make sure they're on. Okay, looks about right. What I might do is turn on the. Now, why didn't that go on? Should have all out. Our batteries are on. Oh, that one was on. Wasn't on. Okay, let's go back down here again. See if I can turn on the. No, I can't. I think we're going to have to start everything up before we can fire a lot of this up. So we'll turn that off. I don't think I've drained the battery as yet. I shouldn't have. Okay. Let's see, get ignition idle for the throttles. And we put this on the start. Let's see if we can start this one. But before I do that, I'm just going to go outside and clear everything away. You notice I didn't put the GPU on it, so let's see whether we can do this. Now, normally what happens is in a case like this, we start the right engine. So fingers crossed. And it's working. There we go, she's turning. Put this out of the way for the moment. Right engine, now we've got to watch our revs, our engine temperature rise. Which it isn't. Ah, there we go, that's better. Okay, what it'll do is that EGT will go up high and then it will sort of come back. Here's our revs here. This is the one to watch, is the temperature. Once it stabilises, what we can do then is we can use the right engine generator. And that should give us power for the left engine. Alright, let's try these fellows again. These should come on now. We should see this lighting up. Exactly, that's exactly what I want. No, I haven't, James. Not a burger dipped in cheese. But they've got to be better than McDonald's, haven't they? Alright, now it's time to fire up the GPS, right? I've already set the altitude at 180. That's what SimBrief has given us for. And that's usually what the Rex aircraft fly at. They either fly 1800 for evens and 1700 for unevens. I should also, before I do anything, put on the air for the passengers. We fired up the GPS. Okay, straight off. We're going to be flying using the GPS route at the start. Flight plan. Okay, we've got Brisbane in there already, so I've already saved a flight plan. With all these others that I've got. Okay, it'll be YBN to Yankee Bravo Bravo November to Yankee Bravo Charlie Victor. That's Charleville. Enter it in. Have a look at it. There we go. Now straight off with it looks like taking off from Brisbane, but it'll want to go to the Brisbane VOR, but we don't need to do that. We just want to go straight out. So we'll hit enter in there, we'll drop that down, we'll clear that away, and that'll just give us straight in. Now, according to SimBrief, it's going to be runway 19 left, and I think if I remember right there, I'll just have a look at the SIDS there. Where are we, progress? Let's go to select departure, hit enter. Right, now there's a reason for this, and at the top you'll see procedures could not be loaded, missing waypoint runway 1 at YBBN, missing runway should be reported. Yeah, there's been a problem with Brisbane. I don't know what it is, but FTP and I have discussed this. It's something that Labina X-Plane hasn't sorted out. It doesn't have the right ACARs for Brisbane, so there'll be no. I won't be able to enter any SID on this, so it's just going to be a matter of pretty well just flying straight out and off to the next waypoint at Samvi. So we'll have to watch that. Okay, that's all we need to do there. All right, now outside we've got our right engine, and it should be, we've got to put it into unfeathered like so, because the next thing we're going to do now is call up Pushback, and what we'll be doing is we'll be pushing back and turning the tail to the left. As it can go out of the way again. Now a couple of other things we've got to make sure are on. We need our nav on. We've got to put in our Q&H for Brisbane, and I've already looked that up, and it's 1023. You'll notice that's in inches. To get to hectopascals, you just push that barrow button in there and move it to 1023. Our emergency, so what I do is to find out what it should be in inches for the backup, I just push this again and it'll tell me it's 3020. And the same thing for the first officers. There we go, all done. Right, nothing much more to do inside here. We've got our right generator going to give us power. We don't need the standby pitot. We should have a look and see how our hydraulics are going. Cabin rate looks okay. Hydraulics aren't operating properly just yet. Not quite sure why, but they should be. Okay, let's get our pushback organised. That's the hydraulics now, but Burger Point. When talking about burgers, there used to be a place in Byron Bay where it was all organic burgers. Oh man, they were the biggest I'd seen. Beautiful, the meat in them, just great stuff.
Round to cockpit, show you we got your plan there. Give me a call through the menu when you're ready to go.
Okie doke, we may as well go.
Ground to cockpit, toast driving up right now.
While he's coming, I'm going to set our departure speed. It'll be up to 140. Everything looking cool there. Our ATC, there's no one on at Brisbane at the moment. They come on later today. I'm just going to leave the squawk at 2270. When I get both engines started, then I'll put on the auto course and then I'll set.
Alright, all doors and hatches are closed. Ready to connect?
Yeah, when we're up, engines are going full bore, then I'll do our CTOT down here.
Mate, winching strap and adapter is in position. Go ahead and release the parking brake whenever you're ready to start the pushback.
Got to admit though, leading edge simulations did a good job with this aircraft.
Alright, starting the pushback.
Now I won't start up the other engine until the push cart's out of the way. It should theoretically, it should work okay because with the right engine going and the generator on, we should have enough power to power up our left engine. Now, because this particular runway is quite long, you probably don't need any flaps. I'll see.
Alright mate, operation complete. Go ahead and set the parking brake.
Okay, he should...
Alright mate, disconnecting tow, stand by.
Theoretically, if, James, you're saying theoretically if you were to become an airline pilot, who would you want to work for? I tell you what, I mean, you might think as I'm Australian, the logical thing would be either Qantas or Virgin, but I tell you what, I think Singapore wouldn't be bad from what I've heard. I think he's just about ready to go, this guy.
Tow is disconnected, bypass pin is removed, thumbs up on the left and catch you next time, have a safe flight.
Roger, Roger. Okay, just having a look at this. We're going to put the wing light on. Now let's try and start this second engine now and see how we go. So our controls have been set. The only thing is the left engine might not start with it there. I might have to move that physically. We'll see what happens anyway. If it doesn't start, I'll have to move that back. Okay, left engine, here we go. Yep, looks like it might. Have a look at our gauges. Revs are rising here. You'll notice that the instrumentation, or not the instrumentation, but the GPS switched off. Sort of must be some sort of a safety thing so that it doesn't blow it. That was nice and quick. Okay, so now what we can do is we can put the right Jenner reset on. Notice we've haven't had to turn the external power on at all. Let's have a look at both those engines. Yep. Now what should happen is all the lights should go out. Can always reset things. There we go. Don't know what the story is in the right battery. That may have run out of juice. Let's go over to generator here. Oh, hang on, it's I must have switched it off by mistake. Now these will come out, go out. We can now power up the props a bit. And we should see those go out. Now we can set the auto coursing. I'll come back up to that. We can set our seat top to about close to 100. There they go, they're going out now. So all the lights are out, so that's a good sign. We can put our taxi light on. Well, let's put our strobe on now too. Everything's looking good here. We could put our circulation on. And the windshield. And come on. Take that to norm. And we're ready to taxi. Yeah, you're right, FTP. Nothing like being the boss. One thing I better fix very quickly is get our GPS up and running. Just see how we go now. We're just going to fly straight out. Take our brake off. And here we go. Hello, FTP. Old Branson was the boss of his own airline, wasn't he? Yeah, James, I heard that as well. And another thing about Singapore is they seem to do very, very well in ratings when it comes to service and everything else. So we're going to be heading down this way to line up for 19 left. She taxis quite well, this aircraft. I've never flown Singapore though, guys. I've flown Cathay Pacific many times. I've flown Qantas, mainly around Southeast Asia in I think they're 747s with Cathay, and mainly 767s with Qantas, doing the run up from either Sydney or Brisbane up to Hong Kong. And hard to remember all the different aircraft, but we did one trip from, where was it? Singapore? I think it was Singapore. Singapore over in Air France. And that was in a what they call a 747 combi, where half the aircraft at the rear is nothing but cargo, and the front half is where all the passengers are. That particular flight took us right over the Himalayan mountains, and I forget what time of day, or evening or night or whatever it is, I couldn't sleep, and I got up and I went for a walk down the aisle and had a look out one of the windows near the doors, and the view over the Himalayas was just incredible, and not too many people were awake. And we landed in is it Charles de Gaulle Airport, and then we got it was definitely a 318 Airbus, very small aircraft from Charles de Gaulle over to London, not London Airport, over to Hounslow, whatever. And it was a very small aircraft because I don't know whether this was before a lot of the security scares, but I think all they had was a curtain over the door to the cabin. You could see the pilot and co-pilot sitting there, and the first officer was a female pilot. It's a fairly small little aircraft. Okay, how are we going here? I might put on the inhibitor now. This club aircraft doesn't have a time set that I'm aware of. It might be I just probably don't know how to use the damn thing. Nearly there. Okay, I'm going to turn the CTOT on. You can hear the click. Now we're supposed to bring up the throttles up to 64% for the CTOT to take over. Sometimes it works for me, sometimes it doesn't. Just for some reason I get it wrong. But what we'll do is we'll go up here first, and we can put our lights on.
Approaching 19 left.
Try to look at the gauges here to see if I can see the 64. But it's up to about there.
On runway 19 left. Flaps.
No, I don't need it. Yeah, actually I'll take just one set of flaps. Okay. Now we'll come up here to 64%. No, it didn't work for me. So we can't do much about that except ignore it. And that'll stop when we take off. So we can rotate now. And hit that. Positive rate. Gear up. Easy aircraft to fly. She handles quite well. Okay, let's have a look at our and see whether our flight plan is showing us. Yep, it is. Okay, so what we do now is, should have set the heading, but I'll go straight to nav. Just bring it back over here. We'll hit the nav button and arm the autopilot, and there we go. Next thing we do is we'll look at our climbing speed, and we can actually set it with the climb button here. So I've just set it there at 180, so she'll go to 180 and she'll stop there. Gear, the flaps can come up. There we go. That's Brisbane City over there, CBD. Okay, back inside we've got to turn off the auto coursing, and we also got to turn off the tot and come back very gently with that, otherwise she can speed up. Okay, 5,000 feet, climbing at 180. Should turn onto the track there. I think what happened there is with that CTOD is I'm pretty certain I messed up with the fuel and calculate the weight properly. I'm going to have a look in here anyway, see what we got. The sim brief was 4225 for our total, and we weren't far off it. It's not going to change a lot of things. When you fly to Singapore, we usually end up either pass Afghanistan, well, who wouldn't want to pass Afghanistan, or head straight over the Indian Ocean. We've been told to avoid Afghan airspace and we have to take the long way around. Yeah, I think that would be a good idea, wouldn't it? Because those guys now, they got their hands on all sorts of things. I don't know whether they have surface-to-air missiles that would be capable of shooting down an airliner, but I think they may have got their hands on some man pads, for low-flying aircraft, helicopters, etc. But yeah, it'd be a good idea to stay away from that place for a while. Okay, 10,000 feet, we've got to clean a few things up. First off, our lights can come off, taxi lights off, leave the wing light on, let the passengers up. Let's have a look. DC generators looking okay. What's our temperature looking like outside? -6 degrees. Somehow I don't think there'll be a problem with icing. We can also go over here and put our synchronization, our prop syncs on. Let's have a look and see whether we can. Now we're at maximum power. We're going to drop it back a bit. Actually, I hadn't put the props up to max. How the hell we took off there before is beyond me. But anyway, that's probably why CTOT went off. I don't know why I missed that, but staring me in the face and I missed it. But it'll still maintain 180. In fact, probably I can come back a bit because prop revs, it's about 1350 is the economical way to do it. So I'm going to bring it back to about there. Let's have a look at our torques in the green. Temperature's okay. Our revs are just clipping over the green, so what we'll do is just drop it back a little bit. And we're climbing fairly well. What are we at? Vertical speed's about 500. No, it's dropped off a little bit. Mr. Martini, hello, thanks for joining in the stream. We're doing an exciting flight to regional Australia. Well, it's not really exciting, but it's a good opportunity to give the LES Saab a workout. And there's our livery. Rex Aviation have had a fairly good safety record. The only problem they had a few years ago was they lost, I think it was the right prop fell off in flight, landed in someone's backyard, scared the chickens. It was a bit of a obviously investigation by the civil CASA, it's called here. Civil Aviation Safety Authorities. I'm not quite sure what the result of it was, probably bad maintenance, but yeah, they're lucky it didn't sort of let go and come through the side of the aircraft. because there's a seat there and probably a seat here, so you wouldn't want one of those flying into the side of the aircraft. Yeah, Mr. Martini, up to 180, flight level 180, which for Rex Aviation, I mentioned before, is fairly standard for their operations in Australia. I don't know, I can't think of any time that they fly over 20,000. It's usually 18 for evens and 17, I think, or 19. I think they might do 19 for odds. I suppose it's a lot more. It's more comfortable for their passengers as well. So to get an idea of what we're going, I'll bring little our map over. And there you can see our route for today. We've just taken off from here, runway 19 left, done a turn to the right, past our first waypoint of Saab, Sierra Alpha Mike Victor, and now we're heading for Rudy, after which we will be flying to this one here, which is just north of a couple of airports. The first one here, Oki, that's actually army base where they train all their helicopter pilots. Now that's why you see the ILS approach there. The other one we've got down here is called Well Camp, Brisbane Well Camp. That airfield there was paid for by one of the local millionaires, I suppose he'd have to be, because the airport at Toowoomba itself is only for really for light aircraft, and he wanted to build something to bring in the Boeings and the Airbuses, because for people living in Toowoomba, if they wanted to fly interstate, to the capital cities, they had to travel by road all the way down to Brisbane and catch the plane there. So this guy felt that and the Toowoomba area should have an airport that was capable of taking the Boeings and the Airbuses, and in fact, I know Qantas flies in there. I'm not quite sure with Virgin. Of course, though, he hasn't put in an ILS in there yet, so it's all Rnav approaches. Yeah, so that's what we're heading for. We're going to be passing towns of Miles, Roma, Mitchell, all of these, a lot of them, it's all cattle country around here, and Charleville. Now if we look at the, and little nav map will give us the weather there with NOAA, so you can see that our QNH is going to be 1021, and the winds are coming from 100 degrees at 8 knots. So basically that means they're coming this way. So that's about right, which means that we're probably going to have to double around and come in on runway 12, and I probably won't need that NDB waypoint, because we'll probably come up and over, do a turn back around here That's just telling us we've got 1,000 feet to go before we reach our climb. So what I'll probably do is I'll get rid of that. And then you'll see that gives us a straight in approach. And what we can also do is we can have a look and see what information is about runway 12. 5,000 feet. There we go. And then what we can also do is have a look and see what the arrival procedures are. And that was runway 30, wasn't it? No, 12, sorry. So we'll see what 12's got to offer. So you can see it's lining up exactly as we said it would. We'll have to come up here and do a turnaround. Now that'll probably mean that we've got some initial approach fixes here. One which is obviously handy for us if we're coming up the northern side of the runway. We can lock it into Charlie Tango Lima Whiskey Golf. Now I won't activate that because sometimes the GPS in the aircraft may not like that one, so we'll keep it to one side. Yeah, hello Ghost Rider 115, thanks for joining in chat in the stream. Yeah, we're pretty well up at our cruising height, right? So I might just bring those revs back just ever so slightly. And we'll have a look at our speed over here. You can see we have dropped off a bit. Now that we're leveled off, this climb doesn't. This climb control no longer applies. It's pretty slow, isn't it? And what sort of? We've got a bit of a headwind here too, so that's probably pushing us back a bit. Looks like 039. Is that? Would that be knots? Outside temperature's minus 20, but it's looking pretty clear. What do you mean Saturday? It's Sunday over here. It's Sunday morning. Okay, we're well on our way. So why don't we just go ahead and set out our approach, which we don't have to activate just yet. Let's have a look at our procedures. So we're looking at the Rnav approach to runway 12. We'll hit that. Okay, now there's those waypoints that we were looking at on the Little Nav map, and the one that was of interest because it's north of the airport was this one, Charlie Tango Lima Whiskey Golf. So we can go down and we can enter that in. We load it, we don't activate it, we load it. Now if we look at our flight plan, you'll see our waypoints all the way here. Now there's that Charleville NDB that I removed before from Little Nav map. So what we can do is we can take it out of this one, clear it, enter, and it's gone. And there's your Charlie Tango Lima Whiskey Golf waypoint, which will be the first into the approach. So we're all set up nicely. So all we have to do now is get the flight attendants to serve us some Swedish meatballs, because this is a Swedish aircraft, right? Check outside. You can see that we're getting pushed a bit from the that headwind. So FTP, I mean, how many rounds have you got to go before you before you've going to hit the hay? This aircraft isn't fitted with tab, but we can always bring it down if we got it in our plugins. We won't be getting a lot of information about Charleville. Ah, see, they got CTAF frequencies available. Oh, that's good. You be quiet. Have a look at our first rate airport. But a lot of these country airports aren't that bad. So here's all our terminals. Let's have a look at that approach. Probably be a little bit higher than 3,000, I'm guessing. Because, I'm not quite sure what it is. Here we are. Here's our elevation. Yeah, there we go. See, 1,003 feet above sea level. So our approach is going to be what? Oh no, 2,800. Would have expected it to be about 3.5. So our initial approach fix at, where were we again, at what was it again? Charlie Tango Lima Whiskey Foxtrot. Here, that will be one of our initial approach fixes, and then down we go from there. Decision height 1,380 if we're doing a straight in landing, and with using the actual area QNH, so it's 1380. Now I don't think this Barrow will work, but let's have a look. Only goes up to 1,000, and I'm pretty certain that's Barrow and not radio. Takes a long time there. You can see it ticking over there. G'day Dougal, how are you? Thanks for dropping in. And T-Mac Void, yeah, welcome to the stream as well. I didn't see you there before. Okay, just got an error, guys. YouTube is not receiving enough video to maintain smooth streaming. As such, viewers will experience buffeting. That hopefully will fix itself. Come on. I'll just check OBS and see what it's doing. Yeah, it's sort of flashing between yellow and red, so guys, you might see things slowing down a little bit. I don't know why it's... here we're back on green, so I'm hoping that warning goes off. Yep, there we are. Okay, looks like we're back. Yeah, getting back to this decision height. I'm just going to take it to 1,000. I don't see there's been a problem. I don't know whether it's explained properly in the manuals as to whether that is radio or baro. I've assumed it's baro. But anyway, and what we'll be doing later on too, of course, is when we get a little bit closer. I'm going to be using Rnav for our descent, and we'll probably be doing that about halfway between there's a waypoint. It's not in the route. It's actually an airport. It's Mitchell Airport. So roughly about halfway between there, which is about 70 to 80 nautical miles. We'll be doing. We'll be starting our descent. So we'll organise ourselves for that. And again, I'm getting another one of those errors about buffering. Black Knight, g'day mate. Yeah, I'm getting that error. I hope it's going to behave itself. Not much I can do. Very odd. I'm getting a green indication on my OBS. So I'm not quite sure what's happening with YouTube. Pilot Jack, hope you can hear me. Welcome to the stream. Now it looks like it's back to excellent condition, so hopefully that twirling thing will disappear. Captain Peter, get woof woof. Yeah. What do you think of my new MD? Oh damn it! That's on YouTube giving trouble today. Tell me, guys, you having trouble with YouTube or not? Yeah, it's showing full green, you know, excellent connection as far as OBS is concerned, but just looking at my little screen of YouTube, it's doing nothing but twirling. Don't know if I can actually refresh this on my end. I don't think I can do it. Pause it. Play it. Oh yeah. Well, as long as you guys are still commenting in chat, yeah, okay, F2P, what's that, getting one or two buffering windows, but it's, yeah, okay, just must be my connection. Yeah, as long as the green, I think as long as it shows green on OBS, I shouldn't worry too much, I suppose. Basically all we got to do now is just cruise along and enjoy the scenery. Not that you can see much out there, and it's all pretty flat country and dry a lot of the time. Might just have a quick look around the cabin while we're here, something to do. There's a jump seat here, and what you can actually do, not that I do it a lot, is if I come over here, there's a panel. Let's back off. And we go up. So what we could do is we can fiddle around with all the lights. You've got a cabin cooler. That one doesn't work, but you can put all your lights on, window lights, overhead lights, not that you can see them well here. Emergency lights are armed. You can light up the surface area, the reading and lavatory lights, and I'm pretty certain each one has an individual adjustment for the light. I think it's the light. There you go. And then if you don't like too much sun in your eyes, you can bring that one down, and you can do that to all of them. So not a bad design, really. Not entirely wrapped in the colour of the chairs, but so there you go. And let's see what we can do here. I'm going to go for a walk, shall we? So there's the back row. Probably be the quieter seats. Don't know where the lab is. What's the seating capacity? Yeah, that's a good question, isn't it? Put on me right now. I'll just back off and you can count them as I go backwards. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14. Oh no, hang on, they're single seats. Oh, okay. Are you counting? I know I could look it up, but I'm too lazy to do that right now. Yeah, Dougal, you should load X-Plane again and come fly with me. Where am I? Can I tell what it is yet? Well, you mean the number of seats? I think Black Knight knows that one. Okay, let's have a gander at how we're going. We've got time 11 is 11 minutes to our next waypoint, which is Morrow. Of course, this aircraft is fitted with ADF as well, so you can zero in on that. We've got an NDB at Roma for 377, but we're still a long way from there. It usually the NDB ADF's only got up to about 40 nautical miles. Some of them go a bit further than that. Just depends on how they're set up. I think if I remember right, we did a group flight around the what's those islands? Not the Azores. The other one's further south, and one of the NDBs there was pumping out at nearly 100 nautical miles, which is fairly unusual. So to set that, we would go up to here and pop him out, and you can see the ADF. This is one thing I do like about the Saab. You can pop this little panel out. You can do all your comms, you can do all your nav 1s, nav 2s, your ADFs, and your XPDR there as well, and do it all here. For example, you'll see that I've switched over to ADF, and it tells you this is the ADF controls here. So obviously then what happens is you change them on the bottom and then you flick them up like so. Very convenient. So now if I go back to nav 1, you can see this has changed to nav here. Same thing, you fill it in on the bottom row and then you just flick it up to the top, and that activates it. So you can do nav 1 and nav 2 on the same pop out, which is handy when we're doing ILSs. In the airlines, of course, you've got to go to the right hand side and the left hand side. This is all in one. I rather like it actually. And if you don't want the needle for the ADF to show up on your efforts, and you can get rid of it just by pushing that, and that's the red one there. It just goes, and these other ones will select between VOR approaches and GPS. I won't click those now. Decision height, flight director, which pretty well stays on all the time. Okay, Deagle, thanks for dropping in, mate. I know it's bedtime for you over there, so have a good sleep. See how our petrols go, our gas, fuel flow. Still got plenty. Our props into the green. Our engine oil is into the green. Our revs are at into the green. Our props at 1350 roughly. Our temperatures into the green, and our torques into the green. So everything looking good. I'll just check that hydraulic pressure there. It was that's happened to me once before, but it looks good now. No, it doesn't. Should be up in the green. I don't know what went wrong there. Cabin altitude's all right. Everything's right there. Yeah. Anyway, can't do much about that now. So while I got a chance, you guys, I might just go and get myself my morning cup of tea, and I think this is just going to go along nicely by itself. So I might just duck out for a couple of minutes. Oh, Avgeek07, thanks for joining, mate. Morning to you. Is it morning where you are? But it's morning here. So give me about 5 minutes, guys, and I'll get myself a quick snack. So don't get a fright if you see this guy come up on your screen. And I might just click the mic off for a minute too. I'm back again, and I'm going to ask FTP if he's still awake. Have a guess what I'm having with my tea. Okay, I'm just looking at our progress so far. Bickies. Sorry for all the Americans, US guys. It's we call them biscuits or bickies. You call them cookies. I'm going to test your knowledge, FTP. Where did the name biscuit originate from? And don't look it up on Wikipedia. Do you know what biscuit, B-I-S-C-U-I-T, what it means? Give you a bit of a hint. It's French. I'm just looking at the distances here on the 530. Rome is another 75. And then we've got another 135. No, sorry, that can't be right. That means we've got about 60 left to go. No, that's another 135. So all up, we're about 200. I think that'd be about, yep, that'd be about right. Yummy. Let's move him out of the way, and I'm just going to bring the little nav map over again, and you'll see here, you can see this is us here, that's just past Miles. Well, I was going to do oh no, it's a Roma one. Let's have a look. Roughly about 80 nautical miles to go to Roma, where that NDB is. And if you look here now, you can see that from Roma to Charleville is almost a straight line. Now that means we can actually activate our approach even from as far back as here, because we're going to be going to the waypoint up here. So you can see that it's only going to deviate us very slightly. We don't have any waypoints in between. If we had waypoints, just 20 or 30 nautical miles out from Charleville, then we wouldn't be wanting to activate the approach until we're past the last waypoint, because that's the way that the 530 works. I can use VNAV up until Charleville if I want to, because it is the last waypoint basically. But I can't use VNAV on the approach until we're actually activating the approach. Hope that's as clear as mud. Alaska 559, g'day mate, thanks for dropping in. Sorry I couldn't watch your stream all the way through. Did you crash or did you make it? Do I ask? Ah, good for you. You know what we might do? Probably still a bit. We're not to the 40. We're not 40 nautical miles yet, but let's see what happens. See if we can pick up the NDB. I should have, hang on a sec, 377, I better move that back over to my other screen. Okay, this is what we got. We'll click this one up, we'll go over to ADF1 and we'll change that to 377. But remember, we're going to do it down the bottom to move it up. Got to get this just right. I notice we've got an excess of numbers here. I think what happens is that we make that a 0 and see if this works. It's either 0377.0 or it's 377.0, and I think it's the other way around. I'll move it up and see what happens. Oh, there you go. It fixed itself. Now what should have happened then is if we're in range, this needle should have moved. Make sure it's on. Okay, Alaska, enjoy your meal. G'day, Alan. How are you today? I got the message the other day, mate, that I was in the middle of having to moderate for XP, and then I was lucky enough to win a giveaway on Chiefs in Pilots stream, $25 org voucher, and I decided to throw some money in and buy the Phenom 3000, so I was sort of trying to do two things at once and try and get an idea how the Phenom works, which there seems to be a bit of a learning curve there. Otherwise it looks a great little aircraft, and Aerobasque usually they do pretty good aircraft. So Black Knight, you can tell me. I've had this little debate with Avio Man also. See the ADF frequency that I've got up on the screen? It's supposed to be 377. Am I right? Do I put a 0 at the start and then make that 377? I think that's what I probably got to do. Usually most of the ADF ones I use, it doesn't go for the four places. It usually only has 3. And let's have a look. It's not picking it up yet, and we're probably getting close to range. In range, we've got. Let's have a look. It'll probably tell us 44 nautical miles to go to Roma. So you would think we'd be picking up the NDB by now. Alan, probably not, because it's going to be lunchtime, mate, and then I know it's always the way with you and I. It's always a matter of timing. Yeah, so I'll have to have lunch after this, and there's no doubt I'm going to get dragged down to do to the shops for an hour or so. So, mate, Black Knight, you think that's okay the way it is? Well, we'll see. If this needle doesn't swing around, then I've got it wrong. Alan, you don't have Microsoft Flight Center, do you? You don't have it. And the only reason I ask that is if you did, it's Flight Sim Microsoft Flight Sim is a lot better to use when it comes to groups. We don't have to log into Bad Sim. And I suppose you might be dying to get the old Twin Auto out. Yeah, Black Knight, I think you're right. I'll see if I can change this one around. Let's see what we can do here. Notice how the bottom one now is sort of not come down to 3 numbers. That's weird. So we can make that a 7. There's a 277. If I go here and make that 37, see, that looks better. See, there's no number in front of it. Let's see. Let's watch our needle on the bottom left there. There we go. It's swinging. So that's what I thought it should be. So guys, if you can see the needle here, it's lined up with where we're going anyway, which is right. So normally what you do with this, of course, is you, if you're going to be using your NDB, you wouldn't be in nav, you'd be in heading. And then all you do is you use your heading to make sure your needle is, that your heading is in line with the needle where it's pointing. Geez, Alan, how long ago did you buy it, mate? You should try and fly it. It's once you get the hang of it. I don't think the procedures for the Saab are anywhere near as difficult as the Mad Dog. In fact, while I tend to use pretty well use checklists most of the time with the Mad Dog, I don't with this. I've pretty well learned how to do most of it. But they do help you. If you look on the side here, where'll I come and I'll throw it up? Where are you? Must be up here. Checklist. You can see you get this checklist up on the left hand side, and if you go to climb check, you can go through all of these things. See, it's the sort of things that you probably can memorise a lot easier with an aircraft like this. You see, you get your gear up, your gear and flaps up, eyes protection, auto course, and up the top comes off. Cabin signs, and get the take the seat belts off. Air conditioning is set. Well, I probably should have looked a bit harder at that, but you can make it a little bit colder. Here's your temperatures here, see? So it's sitting around about 20 degrees. If you want to, you can just warm it up a little bit. So that's for your cabin passengers, and that's for the flight deck. So that'll gradually move up towards probably around about 25. Your inhibitor, well, that goes off automatically. That's that button down here. It's just, you need to check to make sure it's off, but it pretty much goes off every time. That's the inhibitor. The cabin pressure check, the prop sync on, well, we did that. The CTOT I put off very early in the piece. Altimeter's check, well, that's obviously as you get to your transition heights. So you can see it's not a very complicated checklist for this aircraft, and it's a lot easier to memorise it than it is with the Mad Dog. I got probably about 80% of it in the Mad Dog, but every once in a while you miss something. So you want to get out there and fly it, mate. So anyway, that what I was saying before, that shows how we could be using the NDB if we wanted to. And again, it seems to most of them seem to sort of you pick them up around about the 50 nautical miles. They're not considered to be the best as far as navigation is concerned, but if you if you're out in a dark night and some dodgy sort of weather, and the only airport that's around has got an NDB, at least it'll put you in the right direction. So, Alan, have you got the LES one or the Coronado? Because Alaska 559, he's got the Coronado one, and I think he and I flew together at some stage. I can't remember when. Okay, we're coming up on Roma now. Okay, so that's about, it'll tell me here anyway, I should look. It's about 14 nautical miles. And what we'll see, of course, is as we fly over the NDB, it'll swing back and point behind, just like your VORs. Yeah, so Alan, you got the Coronado one. That's okay. I mean, from what I've seen of it, it's not too bad. I think it may lack a few things, but compared to the LES. But from what I remember from Alaska, and also Avio Man, he's got both of them. He has the LES and the Coronado, and he says that Coronado's not all that bad. Coming up on Roma now, isn't far at all. Another 8, 9. There we are. And then it's straight into Charleville from there. And that's, I said, we can activate the approach once we get past Roma. James, if you're asking me about the Fly Mad Dog, how it stacks up against Rotate I don't have it, of course, because I don't have P3D, but from my understand, I think it's pretty good. And the rumour was that they were going to bring it over to Microsoft. So I'm not quite sure when that's supposed to happen, but that'd be good, because I cannot imagine Rotate bringing the MD80 over to Microsoft Flight Sim. I mean, you know, what I suppose I could say, they're probably a bit slow, and that's borne out by the MD11. It's it's been promised for about, must be about 3-4 years now. Black Knight, thanks for that. It looks like 360. Hello, 360? Oh no. See what happens with me? This happened on the last flight, didn't it? 360 degrees at 12 knots. Good grief. Oh dear, oh dear. Why do you do this to me? You shouldn't tell me this. You shouldn't have told me. Why does it do that? Yeah, you're right, you know. Had a wind change. Now, just quickly looking back, did any of you guys see the needle swing back there for the NDB? It's pointing backwards. All right, now you've messed me up now. I'm going to have to change things. I'm guessing that this is going to be a straight in approach. If we're going to be going, we'd obviously have to swing over to 30 runway 30, because 36 not too happy about 36, and it doesn't have an Rnav approach, whereas 30 does. Okie dokie dokie. Let's have a look. Yeah, that's like bang, straight in. I mean, it's going to be easier for me, but I knew you were going to do that. Okay, we should be looking at Charlie Tango Lima Echo Foxtrot as our initial approach fix. Well, we can go and change things here. It's easy to do. So it's runway 30 now, and I said Echo Lima, was it? CT, it's LEI. So we better have a look at our vectors here. Let's just go straight for vectors. It should probably line us up. I can check that up. Yeah, there we are. That's going to take us straight into Charlie Tango Lima Echo Foxtrot. And seeing we're going to have to change that, I'm going to just activate this now. Alright, so we've activated our approach. And it should have activated, but it hasn't. Let's have a look. I think I've got to go in here now and make this as our direct to. So it should actually swing around and line up. Nav's on. Why is that? It should be activating the approach. Why aren't you heading in that direction? Oh, GPS, CDM, that's right. It's definitely not activating. Oh, yeah. Oh, I can see why we're way off. Yeah, we were going to go north, now we're going to have to, it's going to go straight into, okay, that's alright, I can see what's happening here. It's going to bypass our old route and go straight in, okay. How do I calculate where my top of descent is and my vertical speed for descent in the Saab? Okay. When it comes to calculating a top of descent, I actually calculate my own top of descent based on what I can do with Rnav, and I'll show you this basically now, okay? Alright, first off though, what I've got to do is just make sure I know what my initial approach fix is going to be, right? Yeah, because this has changed now. I've got to get rid of this one and go and get the 30, the runway 30 approach. Okay. Now it's going to be I would imagine it'll be the same initial approach fix as before. It's 2,800 feet. Okay. So putting that aside and going to Rnav, 2,800 feet. So we enter in 2,800 feet as our target altitude. Okay, it's mean sea level, right? Now we either want to be at 2,800 spot on, or we can make it before or after. Now what I sometimes do is just I just throw in a couple of nautical miles there just to give me a bit of leeway. You could be violating ACT if they were on. They'd say, no, you'd be at 2,800 at such and such a place. So we now move it over before and we go to the target position, and it should come up. And it's CTLEI, right? So that's going to be our first waypoint. So and it's an initial approach fix. So that's what we want, right? Okay, the next thing we do is we go down and enter in what sort of a vertical speed we would like to do from now to arrive at that waypoint at 2,800 feet. Now, if you're only going to go at 100 feet a minute, it says you better get down there. I usually come up to about 1,400 feet a minute. You can do 1,000 if you want. I suppose if you're doing 1,000 feet a minute rather than 1,400 feet a minute, it's going to be easier on the passengers. So that's the reasoning, okay? Now what you see on the right here is what the vertical speed recommendation is. Now it's already saying to you that if you were to start descending now to get to that waypoint, you'd have to be descending at 572 feet a minute. And as it gets closer, because you're getting closer, you would have to do a steeper you'd have to do a steeper descent. So you can see the vertical speed rate is going up the closer you get. And here's what it tells you, is that you're going to have to start your descent in 10 minutes. And like Black Knight says, you can work it out manually if you like, right? If you look at, if you have Little Nav map, and you put your flight plan into Little Nav map, well, it'll actually calculate your top of descent for you. It's not always accurate. I'll just push this out of the way, right? And I'll bring over Little Nav map, and you can see that top of descent is 50 nautical miles out. So if you're using Little Nav map, and I don't know, maybe there are others that do it, you could start calculating your your vertical speed from that point. I just happened to start mine a little bit earlier. I don't know why it's over there. It should be going to LI. That seems a bit odd. Looks like it's still wanting to go over to where I was. That can't be right. I'll just make sure I've got that okay. Well, I've got CT Charlie Tango Lima Echo India in. And it says it's going there, so... Oh, that's right, it's got to cut across because I was... I don't know why it's facing that way though. Yeah, the other thing too is, Alan, is when we start the descent, I'll show you also what happens here is this, the vertical speed recommendation will be changing all the time, even though you say set it in for 1,000 feet per minute. This will always go lower. If you stick to 1,000 feet a minute, there's a good chance you'll arrive at 2,800 feet way before even the 2 nautical mile. So what you're supposed to do is try and match your vertical speed profile with the recommendation. It's not easy to do. I've got some buttons assigned to my joystick, so that I just have to push them up and down. Now, of course, in the Saab, there's no auto throttle, so you've got to maintain the speed yourself manually. I hope this guy's going to get me in the right spot. It looks like it. Let's hope so. But it says it's going for that waypoint. I could muck around and bring this all forward, but where's he going? It's activated the approach. And it says it's heading towards there. Yeah, the other thing, of course, you've got to do is make sure that you set your altitude, otherwise it will not descend. I'd be a lot happier if I knew that little nav map was heading that way as well, but it doesn't look like it. Don't know why. You can see here we've got just a little bit close to 6 minutes to go. What we have to do then is hit the vertical speed button over here, and then I've got my like I said, I've got my vertical speed rates signed. There's another thing that we can pop up too is the course, the heading. Course 1 left and right when we're doing our ILS approaches, the heading as well, and even now if I want the final approach into runway 30 is 308 degrees. So if you look up in the top left hand corner here, you'll see it pops up. And that will move the pointer. So we get rid of that, and get rid of that. And if we look down here, it should be on 308. Sorry, no, that's where we're heading, is it? It should be on, where is it? Over here. I'll just bring that up again and just move around 308 and we can watch it. It's this one down here. So that should be our heading straight into the runway after we get to waypoint Charlie Tango Lima Echo India. It's been a long flight, a bit longer than I thought. Okay, we're all set up for our descent in 3 minutes. Actually, there's a 31 knot, looks like a 31 knot wind coming from the right there. That could account for why the aircraft on my little map is off to one side. Let's have a look outside, see if we're having an effect. Oh yeah, yep. Look at that. It's a bit of an effect. Now we're just about ready to start our descent at 1,000 feet a minute. So sometimes this timer goes off a little bit earlier because I think this one here suddenly matches the 1,000, and that could be I'm not quite sure the reason. It might be something to do with the wind, or it may be something to do with the fact that we want to be 2 nautical miles before we reach that waypoint. So you'll see this go off in a second, and up here on the left hand side you'll see my vertical speed rate will appear as I click a few buttons. Okay, descend to target, here we go. So we hit the vertical speed and we bring it down 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 950. I'll leave it at 950 because already you can see that the recommendation is coming down there. Now I'll move this out of the way and you can see we're descending already. Our vertical speed is just above 1,000, which is what we set was about 900. You'll obviously now see the aircraft speeding up as we descend. The 180 is okay. I'll try and maintain 180. He's crabbing all right, Mr. Martini. He's crabbing. Yeah, so if we can maintain the 180, I won't have to go onto what they call idle descent, which is here. But it's starting to creep up already, right? Which we'd rather keep it, say, at 180. So I'll bring back our throttles a bit. And we're descending at pretty close to 1,000. And now it's jumped up to 1,000 for the vertical speed recommendation. But it's altering again. I think probably maybe due to that crosswind. Well, I've had it on 950, so what I might do is just see what we're on now. And it's 1,000 now. Our speed's at 180. This is the part now where you really have to keep an eye on things. You've got a lot happening now. So 180 is our speed. It's fluctuating a bit, probably because of that wind. Now, if this thing feels like it's a bit too big, there are two things you can do. You can shrink it down, or if, like me, you've got extra screens, you can click that and then drag it over to the screen so that your vision isn't blocked by it. Well, looking good so far. I don't know why this is. It didn't go on to the. It didn't back on over to the nav. It's maybe because it's a bit out of line now. So what I could probably do, because I don't think it's going to intersect. Not at this rate. It's not going to intersect that one. So what I can do is find out what heading. Maybe I should be heading down to see if I can get back on track with the nav. So I'm going to do a bit of a turn and I'm going to go 195. This will change my descent rates too to blazes. Okay, let's have a look. We'll make this 195. I'm going to try and bring it back on track down to the GPS route. So this is going to take us down. Okay, now what I'll do is I'll hit heading, and she should turn. There we go. And I'm going to keep my eye on the Rnav. I think maybe because we're too far off the course, off the GPS course, that it's not picking it up. And if this doesn't fix it, we can just do take it off the GPS track and just do a heading straight into the waypoint. Yeah, it went a little bit dark there. Should bring us over a bit. Let's have a look. It's very odd. Shouldn't be doing that, but it is. And we're on GPS, so it should have worked. I wasn't putting in any nav on there, no. Wasn't off for looking for a VOR, so very interesting. Let's hope I can bring it back on track here. It's almost as if it wanted to go back to the original approach to Runway. What was that one again? Yeah, Runway 10, I think it was. Yeah. No, 12. It almost looks like it wanted to keep going to those initial approach fixes, which is very odd. As I get close to that a gentle line, I can do a turn 300 and just watching my speed here, it's gone up a bit. I can do a turn for 261 degrees, and that should line me up, and then we can see where the nav will take it over. And if not, we'll just stick with headings. How's our Rnav going? Yeah, it's 800 feet now a minute as a recommendation, and I'm still on 1,000. So what I can actually do is drop it down to, say, 800. 850. So we're at 9,500 now, heading for 2,800. back our speed off just a bit. Not quite sure what this begin descent in 1 minute 57 is. I'm not exactly sure what that. I should read up a bit more on the 530. Coming up here. I didn't want to sort of try and do a direct heading into there. I'm wanting to do intersect the magenta and follow it in that way. Probably a little bit too tight if I do it there. Are you still around FTP, or have you hit the hay? I'm getting some strange sort of readings from my little nav map. It's very odd what it's doing. It's having me past the magenta already. I don't know why it's doing that, but I'm just going to fiddle a bit here. This may or may not work. Okay, so it's definitely 30, and it's that one. It's not, it's doing some strange things. Okay. Whereas if how are we going here? Yeah, we're looking pretty good. We're down to 6,600. This line here doesn't match my little nav map one for some reason, and it should. They should be both the same. And if I was to put nav on, by rights it should go straight towards Charlie Tango Lima Echo India. For some reason or other, doesn't want to cooperate. In the meantime, I'm checking the speed and our altitude. You see our approach is saying 307. Yeah, that's the approach. Well, let's try our nav and see what happens now. But I think at the end of the day we're going to be using a heading approach. Let's see what she does. It looks like it may have captured what I want. Okay, now I can let that do its thing. I don't need the headings anymore. It looks like it's going to hopefully grab the... come on, do it. Straighten up. Yep, that's better. So it should just intercept here. Our altitude is looking good. And our speed is looking good. So we'll look at our Vnav and see what our... Gee, it's down to 2,300. So basically that means that by me maintaining... what was it on? Let's have a look. 800. I'm going to get there before the waypoint. So what I'm going to do is I can see if I can match, go close to matching and see what happens with 200 feet. Two, 200, let's see what happens. And what I should have picked up on before, of course, is we're below our transition height. So let's put this on. And the QNH was 1021. Double check on that. 1020 now. It's changed since the last time. Go over to the, move him out of the way for just for the moment. That's 1,000 feet to go. See, I knew we were early. So it's on 1020. Oh, hang on, that's it, 1020. And that's 3012 in inches. 3012. There we go. All right, speed. Make sure it doesn't drop down too far. Bring that back to 180. Okay, now while I've got it, I'm going to set our bug for what I want to be the approach speed into that runway 30. I like about 110. The idea is we don't want to have our speed dropping below that during our approach. And we can put our lights on, eh? We're definitely going to reach our 2,800 before, even before the 2 nautical miles before. We're nearly there now. You can see we're coming up to our magenta, so that we'll should do a nice turn to the right, and that'll be our long approach. She's speeding up a bit too much. I'm going to come back down to 180. Can get away from you, this aircraft. $3,300. We might not be too bad off, actually. We're getting close to that first waypoint. That's where we wanted to be. 2,800. What was it? 3 miles? 2 miles? I put 2 nautical miles. We should see it do a nice bit of a right turn now. There we go. They're lining up. And we should start picking up the glide path fairly soon now. Here we are, nicely lining up. Okay, speed can come down. We're nearly at the 2,800. No, it's not too bad. Just with me adjusting that vertical speed recommendation down to 200. It's not going to be far off the mark. And actually what we can do now is no reason why we can't arm the approach. And hopefully it'll pick it up. I'll drop my speed off a bit now that we're on finals. 2,800, and this will all stop. Vertical speed 0, there you go. Okay, so we don't need the VNAV page anymore. We can just go to the flight plan and watch ourselves come in. Okay, speed's now 160 coming down to 150. I hope we get that glide path. And what I'll do now is we'll bring our propeller all the way forward to max. We'll watch our speed here. And we are 2 nautical miles to our initial approach fix. Now we can put down our flaps. And let's hope we pick up our glide path. It says glide slope there, but it's obviously the glide path. Keep the speed about 150. And the aircraft is done. We can take off our sync now. We can arm our auto coursing. You know, I know some pilots, some simmers arm the CTOT as well, but I'm not quite sure. I must admit I'm not quite sure what percentage I'm supposed to put here, but we'll arm them. Speed's getting away a bit. Here comes our bug for the glide path. So we're below the glide path, that's good. Yeah, Mr. Martin, we're on finals now, and any minute we should, I don't know if the term is capture, because really not capturing the ILS like we would if we're doing an ILS approach. We're basically using the GPS to create a path for us. That's my understanding. And and I think that's all to do with this is a GNSS, Global Navigation Satellite System. But you can see we're still below, so that's pretty good. I'm on about 130 knots at the moment. Don't want to get it down too low yet until we make our descent. Now we're coming down, and I probably is going to I think probably the best word might be activate rather than capture. I do use the term capture, but I don't think that's right. There we go. Now I'll want to speed up, of course, so this is where we back up on the throttle. Now if you look up the top here, I've got 3 dots. They're blank, they're grey now, right? That's just to help me make sure that I've dropped the gear. That's just a warning. We don't take a lot of notice of that. I'm not quite sure what that does. Now, I'm not happy about the decision height, whether I've set that right or not, but we'll see. And how far are we out now? I'd say in another 3 nautical miles. It's time to drop the gear.
Too low, terrain.
Now that,
Too low, terrain.
I don't know why it
Too
does
low,
that.
terrain. Too low, terrain. Too low, terrain. Too low, terrain. Too low, terrain.
Okay, let's get our gear
Flaps.
down.
Terrain.
Flaps.
Too low, terrain. Too low,
And
terrain.
we'll go
Too
over
low,
to take
terrain.
the old pipe
Too
down.
low, terrain.
Okay.
Approaching 30.
I think that's something to do with the altimeter not being the right. That's all I can imagine it is. Have to watch our trees here, won't we? I'm just keeping the speed just slightly above 110. Let's see how we go.
Four 4,000 feet remaining. 3,000 remaining. 2,000 remaining.
Our reverse props didn't work so well. Now it's taken me off again. Why would it do that? Oh, I think I know
Wide
what's
slope.
happened.
Wide slope. Wide slope. Wide slope. Wide.
I know what happened there. I had my one of my brakes hooked up to my one of my pedal, not my pedal, my buttons on my joystick, and it went to toga. Oh, looks like we've got to go around. Whoa, what's happened there?
Think rate. Think rate. Wide slope. Wide slope. Wide slope. Wide slope. Wide slope. Wide slope. Wide slope.
Yeah, I don't know what went wrong there. So missed approach, we'll go around. Yeah, what I forgot was that I assigned reverse thrust to my joystick trigger. when it should have been braking. It should have been brake. So what happened was when I pulled the trigger, it went into toga. Well, that's good to know it works. So what's our height? 3,000. We'll hand fly up. Should really bring the gear up, shouldn't I? Make life easier. Make sure our flaps are all the way up. As long as I remember to put them down again. Alan, what went wrong is I accidentally pushed toga on my joystick. It was going okay, wasn't it? So what I'm going to have to remember is I'm just going to have to rely on totally on my foot pedals for braking. I'm getting that error again, guys, with the buffering, so just bear with it. I think it's telling me I'm too high, which I am. I'm going to drop our speed off. We're really going crazy with the speed. It's telling me don't blood. Oh, we got all these buzzers going. Don't you like all the noises? Oh boy, am I way too high. Look at this.
Think rate.
Yeah, I
Think
know.
rate. Think rate. Think rate. Think rate. Think rate. Think rate.
I'm not going to land. I'll have to go around again.
Think rate. Think rate. Think rate. Think rate.
Well, it's nice to know all the warnings work on this aircraft. That one's got me beat though. I don't know what that one is. There you go, it's shut up. Can't seem to keep my speed down though. It's gone out of control. Now it's coming down. If I can keep it about there and just come and straighten her up to about there. We've got to get this speed down, so if I just try and keep the altitude about there, our speed will drop down. That's better. Now it's coming down. Keep about 2,500. Okay, we've got a speed now about 100. Alright, okay. I hear you. Okay, good speed now. Try and maintain that height about there. Bank angle, yeah. Probably that's what it was. I'm going to drop my flap now just to help keep the speed down a bit. Just going to have to remember, I'll have to reassign that joystick button. Let's just keep it here, try and keep it there. Two go-arounds. It's not bad, is it? Yeah, a little bit too slow now, come on. Need to keep the speed up a bit. I'm going to try and not mess this up now.
Too low, terrain. Too low, terrain. Too low, terrain. Too low, terrain. Too low,
Okay, we'll take
terrain.
another flap.
Too low, terrain. Too low, terrain.
Oh, shut up.
Too low, terrain. Too low.
And we're pretty close. We're going to drop the gear already. There's the runway in front, guys. It's telling me the auto caution's off. I don't think I'm going to worry about it. Or should I?
Wide slope. Wide slope. Wide slope. Wide slope.
Oh, it's
wide
on.
slope.
Too high.
Wide slope. Wide slope.
Too high.
Wide slope. Wide slope. Wide slope. Wide slope.
Power
Wide
off.
slope. Wide slope. Wide slope. Wide slope. Wide slope. Wide slope.
You can actually turn
Wide
that
slope.
off, I
Wide
think.
slope. Wide slope. Wide
Is it that
slope.
one?
Wide slope. Wide slope.
Approaching 30.
Think
Too
rate.
high. Too high.
Think rate. Think rate.
Unstable. Unstable.
Think rate. Think rate. Think rate. Think rate. Whoa, up. Think rate.
No. I'm coming in fast, so I've got to...
Think rate. Think rate. Think.
That'd be a hard
4,000
landing
feet
gear.
remaining.
I'm a bit all over the place with the pedals, guys, so that's not a problem. And that's our reverse coming in now. There we go, that pulled us up, didn't it? Oh, dear. Let's just see where everything is, eh? Over here, is it? Looks like it. Can I do a turn back and come in here, or should I go down a little bit further and then double back? Might be the right thing to do. Okay, let's get our flaps up. How'd you like that? Got more lights and buzzers going than you could imagine. Auto coursing can come off, eh? And there we go. That was a longer flight than I thought, but anyway. Traumatic. Another day in the life of a Saab pilot. Yeah, Alan, we did. That was a stupid thing for me to hit the toga though. I mean, of all the things, it was, that first one was a pretty good acceptable landing from what I remember, but anyway. Once I get in here, I'll sort of bring up my joystick settings and we'll just have a look at that. Reasonable size regional airport, isn't it? What I should do though is turn them off, shouldn't I? Yeah, it's not a bad looking airport. Now, where can I park this little fellow? I think we just stick on this one, don't we? There's no lineups here for me. I think there might be something here. I think. Well, we'll use that as a guide. Not quite sure how it's supposed to be here. Unless you just pull up along here, but... Yeah, we'll use that, eh? It's probably not right, but... Bingo. Okay, let's get that set. Okay. Props a little bit forward. Now what we might do is we'll bring back our props back to feathered. And I know that sometimes you've got to do this first. Let's see whether we can get the GPU. Yep, he's there. Okay, GPU is available. We'll actually switch it on and then we'll cut our engines altogether. I don't know everything about the plane either, Alan. I mean, you saw what happened there. Sometimes it just, you think you know everything and something always catches you out. But I don't think that was maybe so much something I didn't know about the aircraft, but unless you got things set up properly. Let's just out of curiosity, I'm just going to bring up my joysticks. Okay, this is what I'm using, the Satek 2825. It's old. It's the second lot I've had, but I've had them for years and years. They do have later models, I think the 56, but every review that I've read on the 56 has just been terrible. So what I'll do is bring that back. Let's have a look at the stick again, and 5 is the button I pushed. Yeah, look at that, it says 5 do nothing. So I'm not quite sure why that set off the togo. It just took off on me, because usually what I would do on that trigger, it's just as a backup if the aircraft's getting down the runway too fast and I'm pushing my pedals forward. Usually what I do is I look for a brake and I go, well, not auto, hold brake, hold. You can actually order. Where are we? Speed brakes. There is so that's hold brakes regular, maximum, hold brake right, left, auto brakes up. There should also be a toggle brakes. Oh, here, there it is, maximum effort, and that's normally what I've got there. For some reason or other, it didn't work. So what would happen is if I place that, do that, the brakes come off. You see now, it is the parking brake, but it's always good as a backup if when I push hard on my pedals, sometimes it doesn't work. Anyhow, I'm embarrassed about this, of course, but let's just have a look at the last one. The first one was much better, but oh, hang on, that's right. You've got to disconnect the ground support. Let's just do that when you're doing a replay. Oh, it didn't go. Okay, we'll stop it. We'll go out of replay. Then we'll get rid of it. I'll lose all my power, but that doesn't matter. I'm just okay, now we can do the replay. Let's go to about here. Come a bit. Okay. And this is the last one we did, the final. By the way, there's no sound on replay for the LES. Black Knight, did I miss out, did I? Hang on, I've got my little nav map up. Oh, can't see it on mine. I'll show you what I got. See? This is where I am here, I think. Yeah. Anyway, I'll just watch this exciting replay. Oh, you're saying further down or further back the other way? Could well be, mate. Geez, I had every warning going, didn't I? You name it, it was going. Pull-ups and glide slopes and bank angles. That'd be enough to scare any pilot, wouldn't it? You're really looking around to find out which one. A bit of a hard landing. I can't. I'll let it go. Oh, yeah, look at that. Yep, I cut the controls too quickly on that. And we got the fishtailing. Look at that. What I find with my pedals is they, no matter how much I adjust them, the sensitivity is just, it's just not the best. Look at that. Whoa. You held it in line fairly well there. I flared it okay, but then I powered off and she dropped. And this, one thing you can't do in this aircraft is ooh, the passengers are enjoying that, aren't they? Yeah, you've got to really keep the power on right until you're almost touching down. Otherwise, yeah, she'll flop. But anyway, at least I got it down and in one piece. Okay, so I won't worry about switching off everything, pardon me, at the moment. And yeah, we can pretend everything's right here. And everybody's in a hurry to get off. Now, apart from that last business, it was a very enjoyable flight. So that about wraps it up for me. Let me just check everybody here. James, he said, would you ever consider flying the DC-9? Mate, if they had a decent model, I know there is one available, and I tried it, and it was crap. Sorry, I forget who bought it out. So, yeah, it's a shame that there isn't I don't expect a total study level, but something good. And after all, it is what the MD-80 was based on, wasn't it? So, okay, guys, I'm just run through everybody. James, Amar, thanks, mate. Fly Guy was here. Forgotten FTP, forgotten the passengers. Who else that dropped in? Mr. Martini, thank you for being here. Ghost Rider was here too as well. T-Mac Boy was here. Black Knight, of course, mate. You always managed to keep me company pretty well through most of the flights. Who else? Quick checking down the page. Dougal McTavish was here for a while. Pilot Jack said hello. Captain Peterkin was here. Quite a lot of people joined on, which I'm quite happy about. AvGeeko7 dropped in. Laska 559, of course. Alan A, thanks Alan again, mate. You and I, it'll happen one day. But geez, it's hard to get it right, isn't it? If we lived in the same time zone, I think it would be better, but we don't. We just got to put up with it. Who else? Quite a long list today. Very long list. I think that's about it. If I missed anybody, sorry about that. Thanks for joining. And I'll wrap it up from there. We were in a couple of hours, weren't we? 2 hours, but that's not too bad. And I don't mind doing these regional flights in this aircraft. Once you get the hang of it, it's a great little aircraft to fly. So once again, thanks everybody for joining the stream, and I'll see you all next time. So until then.